Educational Communications and this station present Environmental Directions with Nancy Perlman. On this series, we explore the effects of human influence on the Earth's ecosystems and discuss solutions to environmental problems which affect the quality of life on this planet. Environmental Directions gives you the kind of information you need to help you participate in decisions impacting your community, the nation, and the world. Now, here's your host, Nancy Perlman.
Hello. With me is Marc Brener. He is Director of Renewable and Energy Efficiency Services with Energy Experts International. He's an engineer who is certified as a green specialist by the National Association of Realtors. He's a former owner and developer of Saddleback Energy. And he is a director of the University of California Riverside's Extension Professional Studies Programs. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm very glad to be here.
Everybody is concerned about their energy costs, and yet we want to reduce the costs, but we don't want to have dirty energy. Can we be energy efficient, use renewables, and have reduced costs to the individual, to the consumer, to the commercial operators?
Well, the simple answer is yes to all of those questions. The only qualifier is how much is it going to cost and how long is it going to take to get there.
We currently turn on our switches and we get electricity. We don't know where that's coming from. Is there any way to know if we do use green renewables, or do we just have to take what the utilities give us?
Unless a corporation has set up a specific contract agreement or contractual agreement with a third-party vendor who is promising green energy as the source of electricity, then there's absolutely no way for a residential consumer to know or be able to differentiate what kind of electricity they are getting into their home, which is supplied by their utility. I will say that for those homeowners or commercial enterprises which employ solar, which have solar arrays, then they can rest assured that probably a significant portion of the electricity that they are using in their home or commercial enterprise is produced as a result of the sun beating down and creating power, which is then converted into AC, which is used in the facility.
What is the effect of California's government mandate that all new home construction as of 2020 be zero net energy? And what does that really mean? And has that happened? Because obviously with COVID, a lot of things have changed. Do the mandates change?
No, there's been no change in the mandates. That particular rule, which was implemented through the California Energy Commission, through the state of California, basically meant that zero net energy, as you asked about, simply means that the amount of energy which is consumed inside a home is equal to or less than the amount of energy which is produced by the home. So a perfect example is if a homeowner has solar on their roof and that solar array produces so much electricity. If that homeowner doesn't use all of the electricity over the course of a year that the solar array has produced, then that home would be considered zero net energy. Now, for those listeners who are wondering, well, even if I have a ZNE home, who is going to say whether I'm actually, net positive or net negative? And the answer is no one. There is not the zero net energy police going around checking to see if you are overproducing or underconsuming. It's sort of irrelevant. It's really more of a paper tiger at this particular point in time. The rule was brought out because in 2030, all new commercial construction within the state of California has to be zero net energy. So this is the government's way of getting people sort of over the shock of being zero net energy and get them acclimated towards the concept. So this is just the beginning.
I know that the cost of solar panels has come down significantly, so it is affordable to put on homes. Retrofitting is a problem, but I also know that it doesn't seem to register with the architects and construction companies and developers as they're building still more tract homes and suburban homes in Riverside County and Orange County, San Bernardino County. I drive around and see homes that should have solar panels on them because we're here in Southern California with sun most of the year. Why hasn't that happened? Why haven't they adopted this wonderful new technology?
As you pointed out, it had been quite expensive to adopt. There were, and it's still really considered to be the Wild West when it comes to solar contracting. There were over 900 solar contractors a number of years ago in the state of California. Everyone was trying to undercut the other when it came to price. But for the most part, solar panels, even 5 years ago, were considerably less powerful than they are today. So just as an example, a solar panel 5 years ago may have been able to produce, let's just say a number, 270 watts or 290 watts. Today, that same panel, we'll say the same in quotes, that same kind of panel, today is capable of producing 330 or 350 or 360 watts with a much higher efficiency. So the cost has actually come down. What used to be a payback to the homeowner for purchasing a system could have been 6 to 8 years. That payback period now, based on cost, should be more in the 4 to 5.5 year range. So it's far more affordable. And, you know, when you talk about pros and cons, why aren't people doing it or why are people doing it? Well, first of all, the pro is that you get to have your home power bill considerably less. The con is that you don't want to do anything other than purchase that system. So you're going to have to find a way to afford that solar array system. And that becomes, you know, the biggest hurdle. And that's why, to answer your question, you drive around, you see lots of homes, and they don't always have solar panels. Maybe those solar panels are on the back side of the house, and you aren't seeing it. They aren't necessarily on the front side because there is a most optimum position for the solar panels. And if the back side of the house is facing south or southeast or southwest or due west, the panels are going to be placed there. They will typically not be placed on the front roof if the front roof is basically facing east or north. It makes no sense for that to happen.
I would like to think that they are there. What's the difference between putting on solar panels or these solar tile roofs?
Solar tile roofs look beautiful and they can be shiny and stuff like that. I mentioned just a minute ago that with solar, there's an optimum angle for the power production to occur. It's the same thing with the tile roofs. They will produce solar even if the tile roofs are facing north or facing east. The optimum, though, would be if they're on the side of the house where that's getting the most sun. And in that case, it's going to be southeast, southwest, due west. Is it worthwhile to have a solar tile roof? It really depends on, you know, which side of your roof is facing in those directions that we've talked about.
What about some of the other renewable energies? Are they viable wind turbines on our own homes rather than in utility plants? Can we utilize other energy-efficient technologies in our home like LED lighting? Obviously, electric cars are going to become major here in California and elsewhere. Yeah. What is the whole series of being sure we are energy efficient? Because in this day and age, we're all living on our computers, and they are big energy consumers. It used to just be that refrigerator that we had.
Well, LED lighting is a great way to go if you want to be energy efficient. There's lots of things that one can do to be energy efficient inside the home. And I'm not talking just about LED lighting. Because we're coming into winter, you want to make sure that you've got a decent thermostat, and it doesn't have to be a Nest. Nest thermostats can be expensive, but there are programmable thermostats that are available at your local hardware store that are easy to install, that you can control off of your phone or your iPad, which you can control remotely halfway across the world. The thing is that you want to set that temperature at a place that is going to be comfortable within the home, so that even if you have those rooms in the house that are cold or those rooms that are hot, hopefully by setting the thermostat at a temperature that is comfortable, say 76 degrees, typically our temperature outside is not really in that ballpark this time of year. It will on days, but typically if we've got the house at a temperature that is conveniently warm, then you're not getting this on and off action with the air conditioner. Your furnace is going to be idling at a certain rate. That's what actually keeps your energy costs low, because if you've got the furnace turning off and on all the time, you're burning more gas, which means that you're going to have a higher gas bill. So how can you be more energy efficient? Get rid of all those leaks in the house. Go around and find out if you've got gaps between your doors. When I say doors, I'm talking about your front door, your back door, any entrance or exit doors in your house. Check those windows to see if there's any air which is actually leaking through. And you can put weather stripping on doors, you can put weather stripping on windows. Very easy ways of being able to solve those kinds of problems. Another thing has to do with what's going on in the attic of the home. One can always install insulation or have the insulation installed. And then people will say, well, my roof, it's so hot in my attic during the summertime. How do I deal with that heat? The house gets so hot. So in the summertime, one can install or have installed what's called a radiant barrier. And this is a NASA-developed material which basically is tacked onto the cross beams inside the attic. And it will keep the temperature, because roofs will become extremely hot. So if a roof on a hot day, if it's a 90-degree day outside in Southern California, it could easily be 130 degrees on the roof. Inside the attic, it could easily be that 130 degrees. But if you have the radiant barrier, now you've reduced that temperature probably by 20 to 40 degrees. Stuff is really not very expensive at all. If you've got single pane windows and you've got the extra money, you definitely want to upgrade your window to what's called a low E or low efficiency window. And there's lots of those available. You can pick them up at your local hardware store, have them installed. And you definitely want to go double or triple pane if at all possible.
It's really great to be reminded that there are so many things that we can do that don't cost a lot of money. We just have to be aware. We have to go through our lifestyle, make the changes necessary. You are involved with students as director of the University of California Riverside's Extension Professional Studies programs. Are all these programs incorporating ecological and environmental concerns?
In this particular case, it's more of a mentoring program, but the idea of energy ecology, climate change, of global sustainability, all those kinds of topics are on the table. The concept that we're going for is how to groom the next level of corporate executives to become those leaders in society that are not only forward thinkers, but also problem solvers through a mentoring program, such as what's available at UCR. And this program is also available online. So it's available for businesses to have it taught in-house or for them to have their people take it online. So there's lots of opportunities for people, professionals, to expand their horizons by taking this course. This is a course which really, as I said, is grooming people for the future as leaders in commerce, as leaders in government, leaders in society.
You're certified as a green specialist by the National Association of Realtors. What does that entail? Because I have heard of LEED certification from the United States Green Building Council, but what is green?
It's the NAR's way of being able to set aside or create a special designation for those realtors who want to focus on those homes which may be more energy efficient than others.
Is the new technology for renewables sustainable, ecological, or are they utilizing minerals and other rare elements that are really destructive to the environment to obtain? And then, of course, we have all the e-waste to dispose of it. Is it being handled correctly?
Well, there are specialists who deal in e-waste. There's no doubt about it. As far as rare earth minerals, yes, those are used for our computers. They're used in lots of different areas in our society. renewable energy is sustainable. Even if one was to get a solar system for their home, if they were to also get a storage battery, then when they aren't using all the electricity in the home, it can then preferentially go into the storage battery. So when they come home at night, obviously they're not getting electricity from their solar array because it's no longer sunny outside. So if they turn on the radio, they turn on the stereo, they turn on their TV, get the oven going, whatever it is, that electricity, that power can come from the storage battery before it's drawn from the grid, before the utility gets involved.
You obviously have been promoting in many fields, whether or not it's in realty, development, making our built infrastructure more efficient, and I want to thank you so very much for your work in that area. Thank you for being my guest.
Thank you, Nancy. I love being able to talk about energy efficiency and renewable energy.
I have been speaking with Marc Brener, who is Director of Renewable and Energy Efficiency Services with Energy Experts International. I'm Nancy Perlman. Thank you very much for joining us, and do tune in again next week.
If you would like free information about these environmental issues, go to www.ecoprojects.org or call 310-559-9160. Environmental Directions with your host, Nancy Perlman, is a community affairs program of the nonprofit organization Educational Communications and this station.